Hello everyone, and welcome back to the fourth episode in this mini-series on how to make a URL shortener with NodeJS. In today's episode, we will be adding two front-end web pages to our site that will allow users a GUI to shorten their URLs rather than having to do what we did last episode and create a manual post request in a file. So let's get started. First things first, we will open up the public folder and the HTML folder within it. We can also close the other ones if you want. In this folder, we will create two HTML documents named custom URLs.html and index.html. So custom URLs.html and index.html. These two files will be the pages where users can make their shortened URLs. If we open up the index.html file, or this one, we can make the default required HTML content by typing a single exclamation mark, like such, and if you see this, and you click enter, it will automatically put this in. Then we can rename the title and create a form. This section is the title. I will be naming my site, like title in the search bar, Munches URL Shortener. To actually create the form that will send the post request to our API, we can go to the body section of our document and can type form, the opening and closing tags for a form. It should autocomplete as such, if not, just type form again with a slash in front of it. So, in the first tag, we will supply three parameters. So in this section, the action, which we will set equal to /API/URL/shorten, which, if you remember, is the route where we send requests for URLs to be shortened. The method, which will be set to post, as this is a post request, and the class, which we will set to shorten URL. This is optional, but will allow you to reference it in your CSS code to style your script to style it later on if you wish. Inside the form, so here, we can type target URL : and then we can put a break, which basically will make a new line. As the first line of our form basically is the title for our text input field, which will be on the next line because of the break. The text input field will be created like so. So input, and you don't need a closing tag. The type will be text, as that's what we're inputting. The name is important, as we'll put this to target URL. And if you remember, in our API here, the request.body.target URL, the name here needs to match this, as this is what it's sending as the data for that field. And also short ID here. If you wanted to send that, which we will, it has to match that. If you name these something else or have other values you need, this needs to match target URL. And then finally, value equals https://example.com. And finally, and the value field is basically a placeholder. It'll be in the text box to show them what they should type. And for this form, we just need to add one more input, which we have the type of submit. So input just type equals submit. And it will submit the form and value, or the placeholder or title of the button, which I'll name shorten ! So that it will display shorten on it. Now we can move on to the custom URLs file. Before we go though, copy all the HTML from this first file. So now in here you can paste it. So from the first file, and we can change the title if you want to. I'll be adding a dash custom URLs to the end, or custom URLs to the end of it so I can differentiate from the 2 pages if needed. In the form, below the target URL field here, we can add a break with br, and can then put custom ID break. This is just so it separates them, the 2 of them. Now we can add one more input that will be of the same type as the first one, but will have a name of short ID. So input. Oh, and we can also have 2 breaks after this if you would like. Before the submit, just to make it look better. So type equals text, name equals short ID, as this is where they'll be entering the custom ID, and then the value can be whatever. I'll put it as example. Now that we have the public pages, we can add one more middleware function to our app.js. We can close both these. So in here, we can add one more middleware function similar to express.json, so that our API can actually understand the form data, and we can add the routes that will send the user these pages in base.js. In the app.js, below the place where we use express.json here, we will use express.url encoded, so we can understand forms as they send a URL encoded information. So app.use express.url encoded, and once again we need the options, so extended false. Yeah, and that's all for app.js. Finally, we can go to base.js, and we can create 2 routers. The first one will send the user the index.html file, and the other one will send them the other file. So router.get /rec, res, and router.get /custom, rec, res. This first one up here was just a slash. This is why we needed to remove the hello world one, as they would conflict, because they're on the same directory. So in here, we are sending them a file with send file, or res.send file, but to actually give the path, it needs to be, it can't be a relative path like the other files, or up here in short URLs with the // It needs to be an absolute path, such as this, or such as C users munchdev. But that's why we use path.join with the dir name, which gets the directory of this file, and we combine it with the relative directory to actually get these files. So res.send file path this .join. This is why we need the path variable up above from last time. Dir name, comma, and then /public /html /index.html, and that will join the path. So C uses munchdev desktop NodeJS projects custom URL shortener, source routes base.js, and with this one, which will tell it to go to up, or well, to go up, and then go into public HTML index. So that's what the file we're sending them. We can copy this and bring it into the second one as well, and we just change the file name to custom urls.html, or whatever you named it. And now we're complete the very basic user interface. Very basic and easy. So we can close that, and we can start our app. Make sure that we've removed the base directory if you didn't from last time in here. So we can go to command prompt, cd to our project, and if we run our project with npm run go, we should be able to navigate in a browser, or just open up a browser, to HTTP to http://localhost 3000, and here we get the first page, which just has the target URL, and if we go /custom, we get the custom ID field too. So we can input a valid URL, such as this, https://example.com, shorten it, and as you can see here, it sends us back the ID, similar to how we did it in the last episode. And if we go to it, it goes to example.com. If we go to custom, on the other hand, we can also put the custom ID here, and it will send us back that. So I can go to example, and it will also bring us to example.com. Same as last time, just with a user interface. And it works. So yeah. Thanks for watching today's short episode on creating the front end of our URL shortener, and I hope that you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of my other videos and any further additions to the URL shortener series. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time, but for now, goodbye.